Welcome back, True Seeker. Sadly, the drummer from the Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins, reported dead. If you've seen the news report on this, they're emphasizing that he had a heroin overdose 4 years after joining the band. He joined the band in 97, had the overdose in 2001, and they're also pointing out that he died at the Four Seasons. And as we know, the number 4 is associated with death. Again, in Mandarin Chinese and in Japanese, you pronounce the number 4 the same way you pronounce death. So this number has an association with death. If you're new here, we're going to talk about why it's so often the drummer that's the first member of a band to die. And we're also going to talk about the parallel with Kurt Cobain, who died in history 44 days after his birthday, 4-4, in Seattle, which is 44 land, which is where Dave Grohl founded the Foo Fighters shortly after Cobain's death. I don't think the Foo Fighters have really spent much time in Seattle. But, yeah, this is no doubt a ritual. They're probably going to come out and say that this man overdosed, but what I'm here to tell you is whatever they come out and report, it's a lie. And it's clear to see what really happened and why this man's dead 36 days after his birthday, after the Foo Fighters just joined the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was the 36th edition of the ceremony. And that was just the eve of Halloween last year. So, if you're new here, we talk about Gematria. I'm going to skip down. We're going to go over all this stuff, but I'm going to skip down to right here just so you can see that the 36th Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the inductees, Tina Turner, Carole King, the Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Foo Fighters, and Todd Rundgren. The thing about the connection to 36, him dying 36 days after his birthday, he was born February 17th, dead March 25th, that's 36 days later. Born on the 48th day of the year, dead on the 84th. But the thing about 36 is it's a special number. The number 666, which is so infamous, is the 36th triangular number. That means if you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666. There's something called Sumerian gematria. We just count the alphabetic order times 6. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24, E is 30, so on. If you count up the word rock star with that cipher, the alphabetic order multiplied by 6, the word rock star is 666. So, fitting ritual for a rock star who just made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but doesn't get to live much longer. And notice, from the ceremony October 30th to his death in Colombia, that's where they were when they died, at the Four Seasons Hotel in Colombia. They were doing the Lollapalooza down there. He died 146 days after the ceremony. And from Dave Grohl's birthday, January 14th, to the death, March 25th, 70 days after. So 146 days after the induction, 70 days after Dave Grohl's birthday, and he dies in Colombia. Gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order forwards and the alphabetic order in reverse. Colombia is 70 forwards, 146 in reverse. And ultimately, these numbers have a lot to do with the entity who's behind these stars and who made them stars in the first place, and that's the Jesuit cabal who operate on behalf of the Catholic Church. These numbers right here have a lot to do with the Jesuits. So does the number 84 itself. Jesuit is 84, and he's dead on the 84th day of the year. Now, notice Dave Grohl's 53 years old right now, which means he's in his 54th year of life. Remember, Cobain supposedly died April 5th, a date that's written 5/4 in the majority of the world. Jesuit order equals 54. And Kurt Cobain, when he died in history, his birthday was February 20th. He died April 5th, 94. Big year for Seattle was 94. It's a big number for Seattle, period. We'll get to why. But Kurt Cobain died 81 days after Dave Grohl's birthday. 81 days. And Dave Grohl's full name is David Eric Grohl, which equals 81 forwards and backwards. So does the word ritual. The word ritual is 81 forwards and backwards. If you write out Mark of the Beast, it equals 81. You might recall Kobe Bryant scored his career-high 81 points in his 666th game. And then he died on the 41st day of the Pope's age while traveling from Catholic Mass when Kobe Bryant equals 41. Again, the world of entertainment is controlled by the Jesuits and the Catholic Church. And if you're not aware, Pope Francis is the first ever Jesuit Pope. A lot of major rituals synced with him. But you could also say, Cobain died 81 days after Grohl's birthday. But you could also say that Cobain died on the 82nd day of Dave Grohl's age. If you count January 14th, instead of saying 81 days later, you could say he died on his 82nd day of his age. Seattle has that gematria of 82. When you run it in reverse, it's got the 44. And Cobain died 44 days after his own birthday. He was born on the 51st day of the year, died on the 95th. He died 44 days after his birthday. And again, Seattle's got the 44 in it. Four Seasons, where Taylor Hawkins is dead, as they talk about his near-death overdose 4 years after joining the band, now at the Four Seasons. And here we are right at the spring equinox. You know, so many celebrity deaths always around this time of year after year. It's clockwork. It's ritual. It's ritual sacrifice. But notice, Four Seasons forwards is 44. In reverse, it's 64, like the word kill is 44. And in reverse, it's 64. And if you're new here, we talk about the date that comes up once a month with the numerology of 44 and 64 and how there's always suspicious celebrity deaths on those dates. Always. By the way, the name Cobain also equals 44, along with him dying 44 days after his birthday. And in light of Jay-Z being part of that Hall of Fame class, something that's interesting is from Jay-Z's birthday. Again, he just joined the same Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class as the Foo Fighters. From Jay-Z's birthday to this man's death, Oliver Taylor Hawkins, that's his full name, 112th day of his age. His full name's 112. The Jesuits operate in 112 countries. And when you run his full name forwards, Oliver Taylor Hawkins, that was in reverse 112. Forwards, it equals 95, like how Kurt Cobain died on the 95th day of the year. And 95 is super important to the Jesuits. They were originally created to counter the 95 Theses, and their movement was called the Counter-Reformation, which equals 95. If you've heard of the Bavarian Illuminati, that was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. The Bavarian Illuminati is 95. So, again, 95, important number to the Jesuits. The word Jesuit itself equals 84. He's dead on the 84th day of the year, Taylor Hawkins. And I can see people out there. I know how people are, man. They're like, oh, I can't handle all the numbers. If that's you, if you're that person listening to me right now and you can't handle all the numbers, I want you to look in the mirror, like when you're done with this video, look in the mirror and say, what's wrong with me? Because really, there is something wrong with you. What I'm explaining is elementary. This is addition. This is counting the days of the year. It's recognizing, oh, a guy's name equals 95. Very important to a Jesuit cabal who also likes the number 84, and he just happens to be dead on the 84th day of the year. There's nothing that should overwhelm your mind and your brain about that. If it happens, it means that your brain is not functioning as it should as a human being. And sadly, that's what's going on in this society. Most people are functioning at such a low level, they can't even do elementary things. I could easily teach this to a classroom of third graders, and they'd get it pronto. Their brains haven't been mutilated and ruined yet, as most adult Americans and probably adults of the world have been. But I just know from sharing this knowledge for so long, people get overwhelmed. Oh my God, 84 and 95. How am I supposed to keep this all straight? It's like, good God, what's so hard about that? No wonder you're so broken in debt and can't manage anything. Anyway, you know, understand if you're new here, I like to lecture and rant as I drop the information because I'm so sick of how pathetic society is. And you know what else? Speaking of pathetic society, I don't want to say the Foo Fighters are a pathetic band. They got some okay songs. But they're a symptom of it's like so many good musicians died in the 90s, and out of them came weaker versions. Like Dave Grohl's old band, Nirvana, much better than the Foo Fighters, you know? And, you know, Kurt Cobain dies, and then here comes Dave Grohl establishing his own band. And like I've always said for all these years, I mean, one of the first things I looked into when I learned this back in 2013 was the death of Kurt Cobain and a lot of the musicians who died in the 90s. That's the era I was growing up in. And you know, I said, go figure that it was all centered around Dave Grohl. I saw that right away. And I mean, I gave that video presentation probably back in 2013 or 14. And, you know, a lot of people hated it. A lot of people are like, this is so stupid. This is the dumbest thing I ever heard. And meanwhile, I mean, the people who are saying this here, let's get into the next part about this. Why is it always the drummer? I shouldn't say always the drummer, but it's almost always the drummer who's the first member of a band to die. This is a joke in the movie Spinal Tap, but there's a very simple reason why. It's because in Gematria, drummer equals murder, equals death, equals killing, equals RIP. And again, there's a movie poster out there, Murder by Numbers, where the E's changed to the 3, the B's changed to the 8, 3, 8, 8, 3. That's what murder equals, 38. That's what drummer equals, 38. That's what killing equals, death. Again, here it is, murder, 38 the small way, 83 the big way. The song Murder by Numbers that came out in 1983 by The Police. It's about how killing's as simple as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Came out in 83. You want me to show you you wanted to know how bullshit your world is? Again, the brain dead people will never get it. But here, let me show you this story from the 83rd day of the year. The Butcher of Mariupol. If you haven't figured out what's going on in Ukraine, it's a total load of shit. It is. Just like that, whatever cause of death they're going to come out for this rock star is a total load of shit. And who's behind Ukraine? The same people that are behind this man's death. It's the Jesuits that control this world. But understand, look at this bullshit story from the 83rd day of the year. Mikhail Mitsintsev, or however you say his name, 83 from the 83rd day of the year. The guy supposedly bombing maternity hospitals. I mean, why would you ever want to do that unless you wanted the rest of the world to hate you and join in a war to destroy your country, you know? And people can't figure this shit out. Man, those people are so bad over there. They're crazy. Bombing maternity wards. Why the hell would anybody ever do that? Nobody's doing that. These are bullshit stories. Have you watched these news stories where they showed you the footage of the supposed hospital? An obvious office building that was abandoned? Not a single piece of medical equipment in the building? And they're telling you they bombed a maternity ward? Here, this is from the 83rd day of the year. And again, what are they painting the picture of in your mind? That this man's an evil murderer. Mikhail Mitsintsev, or again, I couldn't even find that this guy even exists. Who even knows if this is a real person? Just something meant to be painted in your mind about how evil those Russians are over there, who are controlled by the exact same Jesuits that control this nation. New World Order. Anyway, the word drummer. Here's the other thing about the word drummer, and to bring it in with the Jay-Z thing. Drummer's got the 38 in it and the 90. Well, it's got 38 and 43 like killing. Okay. Got 38 and 43 like killing, but then it's got that 97 in it. See the 97? The word death is 97 in that same cipher. This man joined the Foo Fighters in 97. That was the year Notorious B.I.G. died. Notorious, 97. Tupac was shot on September 7th. 97 is the 25th prime. He died at age 25. Notice death is 97 and 25. And 38 like we talked about. But Jay-Z had his big breakout year in 97, and then he joins this same rock and roll Hall of Fame class. See, Jay-Z's breakout was after Notorious B.I.G. died. And he got featured, Jay-Z, like before he was a star, he got featured on the Puff Daddy album that came out at the end of 97, No Way Out, where him and Notorious B.I.G. are on the same track. And so, again, just think about it. Foo Fighters go in the Hall of Fame at the same time. Jay-Z goes in the Hall of Fame. And this death is clearly synced with Dave Grohl, but it's also clearly synced with Jay-Z. And again, it's because the whole... And with regards to the Jesuits, you guys, here. Society of Jesus is 56. A lot of people are hearing about this news today. 26/3, like 263, the 56th prime. Jay-Z was on Rockefeller Records, a Jesuit family, the Rockefellers, who are responsible for the World Trade Center project, and that's why Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, came out on September 11th, 2001, that fateful day around the same time that this guy supposedly overdosed and nearly escaped death, Taylor Hawkins. But, and you know, as I was talking about 666, Dr. Dre put out his album Chronic 2001, 666 days before 9/11 with the song The Watcher on it, which equals 666. And then Jay-Z, he did The Blueprint Part 2 right after 9/11 when his first Blueprint album came out that day, and he put The Watcher 2 on there, you know. But notice the last time this man performed was March 20th, okay? March 20th, the drummer, and then died after that, died 5 days later. But that's the 79th day of the year. You see how Society of Jesus is 56 forwards, 79 in reverse? Last performance on the 79th day of the year. Look at the word murder. See how the word murder has a 79 in it? It's also got a 34 in it, like Colombia, where he died. But let's go back to the Murder by Numbers movie poster and look at something real quick. Notice the orange numbers around the words. Orange 7, orange 9. murder 79. If you read it upside down, it's 97, right? Drummer 97, murder 79, death 97. Again, these same numbers get used so repetitiously in these rituals. By the way, Sandra Bullock was the star of Murder by Numbers. Her name is 83. The movie Murder by Numbers came out on April 19th. That's the day in history Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. A day full of tragedies from Waco to OKC to what just happened in Canada, plus many more. And by the way, Sandra Bullock, that movie came out 38 weeks after her birthday. Like drummer, like death, like murder, like killing, like R.I.P. Killing, death. R.I.P. Gematria, the killing name, done by Slipknot. The first member of that band to die died at age 38. The next member of the band, who just died last year, died on a date with 38 numerology. Again, Slipknot does a song called Gematria, the killing name. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. English 38. This all comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah's Book of Formation says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And Agatha Christie has a novel out there about killing by the code of ABC 123 called the ABC Murders. And by the way, the ABC Murders is 56 forward, 79 in verse, just like Society of Jesus, just like, again, how a lot of people are hearing about this news for the first time today, Saturday, 26/3, like 263 is 56 prime. And again, his last show on the 79th day of the year. And and it's just a reminder, I mean, it's like, who is Dave Grohl? Like, who is behind Dave Grohl? Why is he the guy that gets to live while the other people have to die? You know? And that's what makes me sick about this world. It's like, lesser talents get to live while the greater talent dies. Why did people like Nirvana? I mean, they were a good band. Dave Grohl's part of it. But Kurt Cobain had an interesting voice, a unique voice, something that drew somebody to the music. You know? He gets to live on in music infamy, but... or I should just say live on in his music, but I mean, some people think all these people are faking their deaths. That's a whole nother discussion. It's possible, you know. But just understand, it's like, even if that's the case, why doesn't the lesser talent have to fake the death and exit the stage? You know? They say the greatest rapper of all time died on March 9th. What was his name? Biggie. What's Biggie equal? 39. What's New York equal? 39. What's Empire equal? 39. Of course, he represent New York, the Empire State, dead on 3/9. And then, you know, Jay-Z has his breakout year after that, like we were just talking about. Also, here's the way the British paper put it. Fresh tragedy for Dave Grohl. Foo Fighters founder grieves drummer Taylor Hawkins 28 years after Nirvana bandmate Kurt Cobain killed himself. It's like, is that even what really happened to him? But the thing about it being 28 years later, the name Taylor equals 28. The word kill is 28. The name Seattle equals 28 and 107, where 107 is the 28th prime, and ritual sacrifice equals 107. 107 is the big number in Lorenzen Wright's death, young basketball player who was just back in the news last week, you know, that we covered many years ago too, and we talked about it in relation to LeBron James, clearly killed for LeBron James, another Jesuit ritual. Jesuits control the world of entertainment, sports, music, movies. They control the Oval Office. They control your nightly news. They control your entire history book. And, again, so many of these killing rituals have to do with Jesus Christ, like how Jesus is the symbol of sacrifice. Christianity, this religion that promotes the sacrifice of human beings for the betterment of humanity. And for any Christian who gets offended by that, sorry, that's what your religion promotes. And it is the Society of Jesus that's doing all of this. But Jesus Christ equals 146. Again, he's dead 146 days after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Samaritan. Remember a couple years back, 2-3 years back, the day The Rock's dad died? That was The Rock, you know, the football player, wrestler, movie star. That was the day they put out the nominations for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just so obvious how sick this world of entertainment is. And then his dad was a big 49ers fan, and the Niners went on to make it to the Super Bowl that year to lose in the Joe Montana Bowl to the Chiefs. Joe Montana 54, Super Bowl 54 between his two teams, the Chiefs and the Niners. But again, 146 days after the nomination, 70 days after Dave Grohl's birthday, dead in Colombia, 70 and 146. You know, very Catholic country is Colombia. And for the record, 4 Seasons does equal Catholic. He died at a 4 Seasons hotel. The other part of this, he's dead at age 50, And he's dead on a date that has numerology of 70 as well. So he's dead 70 days after Dave Grohl's birthday on a 70-date numerology. Keep in mind, Vatican is 70, Francis is 70. But if you do the lesser date numerology, it's a lesser date numerology of 50. That just means adding the day plus the month plus the later part of the year. So 3 plus 25 plus 22 is 50. Dead at 50 on this day. Notice, again, the Church of Satan, which is another Jesuit enterprise. Notice how satanic has gematria of 122 and 50. Look at San Francisco, where the Church of Satan was founded. It's 122 and 50. And San Francisco is also on the 122nd Meridian West. Now, I was just talking about the 49ers. The 49ers were once 5-0 in Super Bowls. They hosted Super Bowl 50. But again, dead at 50 on a 50-date numerology. These are satanic sacrifices, essentially. Notice how the word satanic is 67, soul is 67, blood sacrifice is 67. It's also 257, like his full name. Oliver Taylor Hawkins is 257. And human sacrifice is also 67. Again, a really familiar pattern. But with regards to the Satan thing, Satan equals 10 in the Most Pure cipher. Marilyn Manson has the song, "When You Say God, I Say 10. He doesn't say Satan, he says say 10, and it's written T-E-N, like the number 10. And what's interesting about that is you see how Satan's 55 and 10 forwards? God is 55 and 10 in reverse. When you say God, I say 10. So about the 10 thing, he's dead exactly 10 weeks after Dave Grohl's birthday. That's 70 days, 10 weeks. And he's also dead 10 days before the Kurt Cobain anniversary. You know how I was telling you how Kurt Cobain died on the 95th day of the year, and this man's full name here, I'll try it out again. Oliver Taylor Hawkins, 95. Out of all these ciphers, the Most Pure is considered this one. 95. If you write out the Bavarian Illuminati, it's 95, founded by a Jesuit. If you write out Counter-Reformation, the purpose of the Jesuits, it's 95 in that cipher, okay? And remember how we were talking about the connection with 36 and 666? If you write out 666, it's also 95 in that cipher. And 95 weeks in one day is 666 days. Again, all this stuff, it's all very cleverly thought out. It was all put into the language when it was standardized in the 16th century along with the calendar, which is named after a Catholic pope. All of this stuff was planned out long ago. It's all based on knowledge that came before it, and they've had this system like a well-oiled machine since the 16th century. That's why everything about this nation's history is this way. Pretty much everything about modern history is this way. You go through history with this knowledge, and it'll blow your mind. You'll see just how contrived history is. It's just like what we're watching right now in Ukraine. I mean, this is what contrived history looks like. And this is why we're not allowed to talk about anything anymore either. We're not allowed to question anything because they don't want us uncovering their lies. But do you think this story is real from the 83rd day of the year? The guy that's just attacking maternity hospitals, targeting women and children? I mean, what kind of military strategy is that? Like, on what level does that make any sense on a military strategy? For one, it wouldn't ever help you win a war. You're not actually targeting the things that are going to get you. You're targeting women and children. What's the point? Somebody's going to say, to genocide the nation. I thought they wanted to take control of the nation. What would be the point of destroying a territory and then taking it? That's totally taboo and makes no sense either. That goes completely against the art of war, which is translated by a Jesuit. But just understand, this is what all of history is. From Adolf Hitler to all of it. It's all contrived bullshit. It's all a load of shit. Think about how much easier it was to fake the news stories 50 years ago than it is even now. No screens, you know what I mean? Well, a little more than 50 years ago now, but in the time of World War II. All we're living out, you guys, is lies that come from the authority that we're supposed to believe in and accept. And everything, from bullshit stories like this to the bullshit deaths of your favorite musicians. It's all Jesuit crap. And, again, who's behind the Church of Satan? The Jesuits are. That's why they coded their own damn numbers in it. Church of Satan. Look at it, what it is. Church of Satan. 56. Also 70, right? These are the Jesuit and Vatican numbers. So, not hard to see what happened here with, I like how they got a picture of Dave Grohl with a cross on his neck, too. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. That's Google. And Google's a Jesuit enterprise. What day does Google celebrate its birthday? Oh, the same day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome. What's the CEO's name? Oh, it equals Jesuit order, Sundar Pichai. But, yeah, I mean, just everything about it. 4 seasons, bringing up how he nearly died 4 years after joining the band. Jay-Z, the most obvious death ever connected to Jay-Z was Pimp C at 33 on Jay-Z's birthday. They said he drank too much purple drink. Pretty sure that's not what happened. I mean, that might have been true. I think a lot of these rappers have been drinking too much purple drink. It's not doing them any favors, but I don't think that was the cause of death on Jay-Z's birthday. And I did see that Daria had a great observation at the beginning of the stream, and I got to pull that. Bear with me 1 minute while I pull up. Thank you, Daria, for your generosity and your observation. I got to pull it up because I know she's spot on. Daria is a great member of the community, always making very relevant observations. Where did her comment go? I'm almost there. So she wrote, Taylor Hawkins is dead 28 days after the release of Studio 666. So here, we're going to look this up. But again, just before, in case you didn't watch from the beginning of the stream, you got here late. Here's why the 666 things matters. Oliver Taylor Hawkins, the man whose daddy died 36 days after his birthday. And the Foo Fighters just joined the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at the end of last year, which was the 36th annual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Okay? And again, from that ceremony to his death in Colombia is 146 days later, and Colombia, 146. Catholic land. Again, it's the Catholic Jesuits behind all this. I have to look up if Dave Grohl is Catholic. He probably is. All right, so I don't know what Studio 666 is. Is it a movie? Let's see. Studio 666. Okay. Oh, my God. Dave Grohl's in it? Well, no wonder. And this is what I'm talking about with Daria. Daria is always making these great observations. So Studio 666 official website. Okay, they're making a killer album. Foo Fighters present it. Studio 666 movie in theaters now and at home on demand March 18th. The thing about 318, that number's related to the Bible because that's how many times the resurrection's mentioned in the Bible. There's a big mathematical thing with 318 too. Relates to pi. Well, it relates to pi in the circle. The word circle equals 50. He's dead at 50. So, okay, so this just came out. So he's dead 7 days after it came out. But here's the cipher I was talking about where Rockstar 666. It's just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. If you write out Rockstar... Oh, shit. It's when you run it in reverse. My bad. It's when you run it in reverse. Rockstar is 666. The word concert is also 666 in that cipher. Just running the alphabetic order in reverse and multiplying it times 6. So Rockstar and concert, both 666. The 36th triangular number. I don't think it's too hard to see how this all comes together. That means since he's dead 146 days after they got inducted in the 36th Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that means that Studio 666 came out 139 days after their induction into the 36th ceremony. And the reason that matters is because that's the 34th prime number. You see how Beast has that connection to 34? Beast, 34. Columbia, where he's dead, 34. 666 is the number of the Beast. And again, murder is also 34. If they come out and say he's committed suicide, that's been a big theme this year. That wouldn't make any sense, but God, I wouldn't. Suicide's also 34. There's been a lot of suicide 34 rituals. But notice how Rock is 47 and Beast is 47 and Columbia is also 47. And again, the Foo Fighters started in Seattle on the 47th parallel, and it was Nirvana back then, which is also 47. And, about the most famous rock band there ever was, when I spell their name right, Led Zeppelin is 47. Big number with rock history. And Seattle was the rock mecca in the 90s, back when Kurt Cobain died and the Foo Fighters were established. But here, with regards to Cobain dying in 94, he died 94 days after Bill and Melinda Gates got married. And Bill Gates wasn't a celebrity when Kurt Cobain died. Bill Gates became a celebrity after Kurt Cobain's death. He became the most famous man in Seattle. Went from Kurt Cobain to Bill Gates. But here's the thing about Seattle in 94. If you write out Seattle, Washington, it's 94. And the only time the Seahawks ever won the Super Bowl was the 94th NFL season. They beat Denver, which is another 94. And now Russell Wilson just went to Denver by the numbers. And you see how Colorado's 38? Again, that number connected to death. Russell Wilson was drafted into Major League Baseball by the Colorado Rockies, and his dad died the very next day. He was drafted June 8th. His dad died June 9th. And he just went to the Broncos on March 8th, Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. That's why I'm bringing this up, how it's all connected. He went there on 3/8, and notice Colorado 83, their stadium just got set on fire on the 83rd day of the year. Football is also 83. But when Russell Wilson beat the Denver Broncos, that was the Seahawks' 38th season. And again, he got drafted by Colorado. His dad dies the next day. He ends up beating Colorado in the Super Bowl. I'll show you how messed up it is. If you write out Number of the Beast, it's 174. His dad died 174 days from his own birthday. Russell Wilson ended up playing in exactly 174 total games for the Seahawks, and he got traded to Denver 174 days after his new daddy's birthday, Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks. And, of course, Seattle on the 47th parallel, where Beast is 47, is known for the Beastquake. And remember, Russell Wilson, we always talk about when he had that long absence of a rushing touchdown, and then he finally got one after all that time, and it was exactly 666 days after his last rushing touchdown against the New Orleans Saints, who had the Beastquake happen against them, as they call it in football, and they had just shown the highlight of the Beastquake right before Russell Wilson got a rushing touchdown for the first time in 666 days. So understand, they're doing this with your rock stars. They're doing this with your sports stars. Again, Dave Grohl, his full name 81, like Mark of the Beast. Kobe scored his career-high 81 in his 666 game. Now we're talking about, Studio 666 put out by the Foo Fighters. The word Foo, by the way, just Foo alone is 36, 666, the 36 triangular number. But we're talking about this coming out, and then a week later, a bandmate being dead 36 days after his own birthday. And, if anybody comes back here who was here years ago and saw my video and left a bunch of curse words and said what a crazy idiot I was, again, I want you to look in the mirror after you watch this video and say, do you really think I'm a crazy idiot, or do you think maybe you were an ignorant moron back then and still might be? I know the answer to that question. I'm not guessing or assuming. I know the answer to that question. I know what society I live in, and I live in a society of morons. People that can't see the obvious. People that fall for the most obvious bullshit and the lies that come through the screen every day. Not a single damn thing ever makes sense that they tell you on that TV, but yet everyone just swallows it, hook, line, and sinker. Well, it came from the TV. They've been laughing at us for decades. Richard Nixon. The only thing the American people believe is what they see on TV. What do you think, that was a compliment? That was talking about what a society of morons we have. By the way, Richard Nixon, resignation by the numbers. Whole nother story. Everything about the Oval Office by the numbers. Senile Joe, a big joke by the numbers. Who called it? Again. Anyway, if this man's really dead, R.I.P. to him. I assume all these people. We're going to have to get Jeff Young back on sometime recently. Jeff Young's our resident rock star, Gematria addict. And I've never asked Jeff that question. I used to do his radio show all the time. Jeff Young used to play guitar for Megadeth. And Jeff Young and I have done many shows talking about how often the drummer's the first to go. So, Jeff, it's killing me. I can't think of the name of Jeff's friend, the drummer who died on stage. At the name of Baked Potato? I can't think of his name right now. See if this brings it up. Yep, this is it. So, Jeff Young's friend was Nick Menza. They used to play music together. But David Eagle and Nick Menza both had heart attacks on stage at the Baked Potato concert venue while playing for the band Ohm. And here was Ohm's post. As you may know by now, David Eagle had a heart attack and had open heart surgery on May 11th. He's had many setbacks and is now in ICU. His brothers Chris Poland and Robert, with guest drummer Nick Menza, are having a benefit for David at the famous Baked Potato 3787, blah, 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 in Studio City, California. And they were doing that on July 9th. Interesting date. And that surname Eagle has the Gematria 38 like drummer. Whoa. Eagle 38, drummer 38, Baked Potato 38. Two drummers meet the same fate at a 38 venue. Again, that's the death number. More and more than any other number. That's the one we talk about. June 26th is the day leaving 188 days left in the year. I recognize I did this post years ago. This post is from 2016. This is back when I used to do Jeff Young's show every week. But June 26th is the 177th day of the year, leaving 188 days remaining. And you know what? When I did this post, I did not know reverse gematria yet. I learned reverse gematria, I want to say like around November, December of 2016, maybe October, but it was late 2016. So I didn't even know I didn't know nearly as much about gematria back then. And the gematria calculator didn't exist back then, this calculator. But here's the thing. It's the 177th day of the year, right? The Jesuit order is 177. Again, a Jesuit founded the Bavarian Illuminati, which is also 188. It's also got the 80 in it like Satan. And in light of 26/6, the Jesuit motto that's in their logo, the sun, Isus Hominum Salvator, it's 266. Like the first Jesuit pope is Pope Francis, the 266th pope. And again, knowing this knowledge can pay big dividends. You should have seen how much money we made the other week off college basketball, seeing all the games that were going to come through at 26-6, while the Pope was 85. And again, I mean, college basketball is always synced up with the Catholic Church and Pope. It's why the first March Madness was in 85, and it was the Catholic school over the Jesuit school, Villanova over Georgetown. But, so think about this date. It's got the 266 in it, right? It's got the 177, the 188. I mean, it just couldn't get any more Jesuit. Couldn't get any more Illuminati. And, it was a date with 67 numerology, the blood sacrifice number, another pattern we've talked about a gazillion times. And their two deaths from heart attacks came 47 weeks apart. Oh, 47. Weren't we just talking about that with Rock and Beast and the number of the Beast rituals? And hold on, though. I know I have a better post on this. So Nick Menza died on stage May 21st, 2016. I said for Jeff Young. He was the one who notified me about this. I don't think this got the big headlines like a lot of these stories do at the time. But Megadeth, for the record, has that Gematria 36. Again, 666, the 36 triangular number. Beast, 47. The two drummers, 47 weeks apart. And for the record, don't condemn Jeff Young. Jeff Young wasn't in the band for that long. He's not the founding member, but he came on and he was the guitarist for a while, and then he said he just didn't like the scene, so he got out of there. But a lot of people say, oh, Zach's a shill because he associates with Jeff Young. How would he know a rock star like Jeff Young? Well, Jeff Young was someone who found my work, talking about so many people he knew in the industry who died, and reached out to me and put me on his show. I mean, that's how it happened. Not everything's a conspiracy, but yeah, Jeff's always been a friend of the work and helped spread the work. So, I mean, it seems like a lot of these guys did sign on the line and sell their soul to get where they were. But I've never asked Jeff if he had to sell his soul to be in Megadeth. It's kind of a personal. I hope not. I mean, maybe someday Jeff wants to come on and talk about it. I'm going to assume that he didn't. He's living on longer than most of these guys, and he wasn't in the band that long. So, anyway. Nick Menza had the 42 in his name. Let's see. We've covered the deaths of so many drummers, but I just remember this one. It was just like these guys collapse on the same stage. Jeff Young hates Dave Mustaine. That's the founder of Megadeth. But yeah, again, it's just, I guess it was mostly the venue. Drummer 38, Baked Potato 38, filling in for Mr. Eagle 38, who had the same fate happen to him on the stage. I guess that was the unmistakable thing about it. But the band Ohm is also 216 and 36. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Again, 666 is the 36th triangular number. I guess the 8 kind of has a connection to 36, because if you add 1 through 8 together, it equals 36. Ohm is 88. And it makes sense why the Jesuit logo IHS equals 36, which is the 8th triangular number in the sun. If you didn't know this about the sun, I forget what the scientific term for it is, but sun's figure 8 in sky. What is that thing called? If you take a picture of the sun, analemma. If you take a picture of the sun every single day at the exact same moment of the day, so like if you were taking the picture of the sun every day at noon sharp, you could do it at any time of the day at the same time. But if you looked at it over the course of the year, you know, just imagine you had a camera stationary. It doesn't move. It's in a fixed position. And every day you're taking a picture at the same spot in the sky of the sun at that exact moment. Over the course of the year, the pattern is a figure 8 in the sky. And, I mean, you just think about it. That's how clever the Jesuits are. That's how figured out they got it all. You know? They got the alphabet all synced up perfectly, the spelling all synced up. It's all in tribute to their Gregorian calendar, which is solar-based. All of these rituals are in accordance with time. It's why so many people die around the equinoxes. And, again, they're sacrifices to the sun. It's like what you learned about in your primary school about these ancient civilizations that used to sacrifice people for their gods. Nothing's changed. These are the ancient people. They're still ruling over us. So, anyway, R.I.P. I'm sure there's even more to the story. I'm not a big Foo Fighters fan, so I don't know a lot about the band. But here, just something I normally do in these that I even skip today. Foo Fighters Discography. So often, in this case, it looks like the film they just put out's the thing. So often there's an album that's recently released that's synced up with the death, but in this case, it looks like this film they just put out last week. Have to find out why they called it Studio 666. Well, notice what day the first Foo Fighters album was ever put out, you guys. 95. How about that? And on what day in 95? July 4th. July 4th can be written 7-4 or 4-7. Again, 47, that big rock number like we talked about. Beast number. When you write out 666, 95. So I like that their label's Roswell. Foo Fighters is a name for UFOs. And that's the thing, too, you guys. The UFO Roswell incident, when did that happen? 1947. And what state did it happen? It happened in New Mexico, the 47th state. And then the thing I always point out about Seattle and New Mexico is Bill Gates started his business in New Mexico. So did Jeff Bezos, who both took it from New Mexico, alien land, up to Seattle, where the Space Needle is, on the 47th parallel. So they went from the 47th state to the 47th parallel. And in the case of Bill Gates, he established his Redmond Microsoft campus, which is in the suburb of Seattle, on February 16th, the 47th day of the year. And let's not forget, when Bill Gates' father died, it was a big satanic ritual on September 14th, 2020. There's a lot to say about it, but, and you know, Bill Gates was part of the simulation for the pandemic that was 666 days before it happened. Claydex on May 15th, 2018. So, okay, the first Foo Fighters album on July 4th, 95. What birthday was that for the nation? The Illuminati was established the same year as America, 1776. So what is that, 219 years? On the 219th birthday of the nation. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Here's what I know about 219. Tell you another messed up death joke with this one. You see how Roman Catholics 132 forwards, 219 in reverse? Again, what am I telling you? It's the Catholics and the Jesuits behind all this. Go back to February 19th, 2016, the day this guy's body laid in repose, at the Supreme Court. Antonin Scalia, the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice. 132-219 like Roman Catholic. From the establishment of the Illuminati, May 1st, 1776, to the naming of the United States of America, September 9th, 1776, is a span of 132 days. The beast is mentioned in Revelation 13:2. There's 132 rooms in the White House. United States of America is 132. Roman Catholic is 132. Catholic Church is 132. Astrological is 132. And with regards to Antonin Scalia, whose body was in repose on 219, he died suspiciously on the 44th day of the year. 44, the kill number, right? Like we were saying, Four Seasons 44, Seattle 44, Cobain dead 44 days after his birthday. Just these numbers come up all the time with suspicious deaths. Antonin Scalia, of course, is also 84, like Jesuit, and the man we're talking about here today, the Foo Fighters drummer, dead on the 84th day of the year in a clear Jesuit ritual. Here, I gotta see, is Dave Grohl Catholic? Dave Grohl Catholic. I'm gonna search. It'll come up if he is. Dave Grohl was raised Catholic. Well, go figure. It only made sense with that picture of him on Google with the cross on. He was raised Catholic and went to Catholic school, but according to him, it wasn't for religious purposes, strictly reform. That's entirely true. Technically, I went to Catholic school. We were raised Lutheran, but I was in Catholic school for kindergarten and first grade, and it was because they had free all-day care and my parents were poor. They worked all day. They dropped me off there super early in the morning. They picked me up late at night every day. It sucked. Everything sucked about it except for Christina. I still remember my first sweetheart back in, I couldn't tell you for sure if it was kindergarten or first grade. It was probably first grade. Getting a little more into the girls by first grade, but I had to lay the big smooch on Christina. I know she liked it, but the teacher sure didn't like it. And I had to sit in the corner all day. Woo! I was in the corner for hours. I remember I kept peeking because from the corner I could see the window, and I was just waiting for my dad's truck to roll up. Man, I went sprinting out of there. I didn't want to hear him. My dad probably would have liked it in hindsight, but I thought he'd be mad too. My dad probably would have been like, "What a little man I got." Already laying it on the ladies, but. Catholic school, man. I'll tell you what, don't kiss any of the girls in first grade. My goodness. All right, hold on. Dave Grohl has not confirmed being Jewish. However, his wife is a Jew. Just for the record, you guys, the Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish. Like Bill Maher, my favorite Jesuit example. Good old Bill Maher loves to make jokes about all the tyranny going on in the world and make a career off it. Total scumbag. That said, out of all the scumbags out there, he's not the worst. But, okay, so Dave Grohl, raised Catholic. And, honestly, some of these guys I get chosen, I think, from a young age. He might have been at the right... Here, let's see. What school did he go to? Let's see. Dave Grohl, education history. Let's see where he went to school. He didn't grow up in Seattle. I think... Well, the high school that comes up right there is not a Catholic school. Education, early life. Let's see. I'm curious. Son of teacher, Virginia Jean. News writer. Oh, his dad was in the news, huh? His dad was born in 1938. He's of German, Irish, and Slovak descent. He was a special assistant to Senator Robert Taft, huh? So his dad had some connections. And again, that's what I mean. That's why these guys that are chosen, it's just like, that's not Kurt Cobain's background. So Dave Grohl, he just comes from a little bit more astute family. Here's the Catholic school he went to. Bishop Ireton High School in Alexandria, because his cannabis use was negatively... Okay, so she didn't want him to smoke weed, so they sent him to Catholic school. Okay. Yeah, Roman Catholic, just like I was saying. Isn't it funny? Now the album comes out on the 219th birthday of the nation. This Jesuit Catholic nation that it's always been. Couldn't be any more obvious. A St. Francis was the founder of the school. Go figure. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to look more into this school. So, oh, look at their address, you guys. Look at the address of this school. 201 Cambridge Road. I mean, are you kidding me? 201. If you guys are new here, that's arguably the most important number to the Jesuits. The Jesuit order is 201. And their founder, Ignatius of Loyola, is 201. And, you know, the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, Jorge Mario Bergoglio's his birth name, 201. First Jesuit Pope to first to live in Sweden, 201. Plus a gazillion other things. So the school he went to, it just happens to be at 201 Cambridge Road. Okay. And not far from the nation's capital, right? Which is a Jesuit stronghold. First Jesuit University, D.C. And this, I guess I just answered my own question from the beginning of the stream. I hadn't looked into this about Dave Grohl before. Once I saw that Catholic cross he had there on his chest in his Google photo, though, it started making me go, And here, you guys want to see some stuff about Kurt Cobain and their big song, Smells Like Teen Spirit? It's got Jesuits written all over it. You know they didn't write that song. It was given to him. I did maybe back in January. I know YouTube took down my video on it. I think I put it up on BitChute, though. Bill and Melinda Gates, total Jesuits. Bill Gates is Jewish. Melinda's a Jesuit. It's that Catholic Jewish thing. Oh, yeah, we just had Mark Lanigan die, Seattle band, in a clear ritual. But where's the video I just did on... Where's the post I just did on Kurt Cobain? This can't be it. No, this is not it. Yeah, that is interesting. I just did a post. Like, why is it not coming up? Unless this is the post. I don't think it is, though. Or actually, maybe this is the post. Okay. With regards to the Jesuits and grunge music being the thing out of Seattle, notice how it has that Jesuit encoding. Society of Jesus, grunge music. The reason Mosquito Week's up there, it's something Bill Gates does. Coronavirus and COVID vaccine, 56. Melinda has the same birthday as the Jesuit. She turned 56 the year of the pandemic. But anyway, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Oh, I know the chorus. You know, a mosquito, a libido. Yeah. Anyway. Not to mention, Smells Like Teen Spirit came out on 17/4, that Number of the Beast thing. But from Cobain's birthday to the day they debuted that song, 56 days later, right? And the song that made them the smash hit. And, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff to say here, but I've talked about it before. I don't want to get into too many different topics. But yes, Kurt Cobain did die 94 days after Bill and Melinda got married. And he also died 206 days from Bill Gates' upcoming birthday that year. That's the Seattle area code. And in Jewish gematria, sacrifice equals 206. And in Seattle, they set up the autonomous zone just a couple years ago on the day leaving 206 days left in the year, right next to the Jesuit school, Seattle University. And I said, when they set it up, I said, watch what happens on June 20th. I bet somebody gets killed there. And then they have the push to shut it down. That's exactly what happened. Supposedly a 19-year-old got killed on June 20th, 20/6. And then the mayor, who was the 56th mayor at the time, Jenny Durkin, you know, she came out and said that it was time to clean up the autonomous zone. And if you guys missed all my work on the autonomous zone, it was planned by the city. City planning had the autonomous zone planned before it was set up. And that's why they brought all the materials there to block off the road. So that wasn't some organic, like, rebellion, Black Lives Matter, whatever they were trying to make it, Antifa in light of the George Floyd thing. That was something planned by the city, which is controlled by the Jesuits. You can't find a much more Jesuit city than Seattle. But, and you know what else is messed up about the Nirvana was founded in 87. That's the year Bill and Melinda supposedly met, 87. And I just want you to see this. Bill supposedly got his COVID vaccine on his 87th day of his age. Bill Gates is 87. But if you write out Buddhism, or it's Buddhist. Buddhist is 87. Nirvana is a Buddhist concept. So Nirvana is established in 87. Bill and Melinda go on their first date in 87. They end up getting married on the first day of 94. And then 94 days after their marriage, Kurt Cobain's dead. And by the way, like we said, Seattle, Washington's 94. But more importantly, Roman Catholic Church is 94. And here, I'll give you a couple more good ones. Coronavirus pandemic's 94. Bill Gates declared his decade of vaccines in Davos, Switzerland, a decade to the coronavirus pandemic, essentially beginning in Seattle, because remember, that's where the first confirmed case was in the world outside of mainland China. And there's a lot. Here, if you write out Number of the Beast, you see how it's got the 258 in it? If I write out Order of Illuminati, notice how it's 201 and 258. If I write out William Henry Gates, that's Bill Gates' full name, it's 201 and 258. One of the main sponsors of Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation right before the whole thing went down. But his dad died on the 258th day of 2020, a leap year, September 14th. And again, just that Number of the Beast 666 thing. And in light of his dad dying September 14th, Revelation 14:9, this verse, I don't want through 11. I just want Revelation 14:9. It says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand." This verse right here, Revelation 14:9, like how his dad died on 14/9, it has Gematria 666 in the verse. See how that goes together with the Number of the Beast and Bill Gates? And for the record, Bill Gates established his vaccine alliance, Gavi, on July 12th, 99, his 258th day of his age. And that cipher where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6, notice, vaccination, 666. See how perfect it all is? Now all these rock stars are requiring people to be vaccinated and masked to come in the concert, all the stuff that's been going on. Rage Against the Machine requiring that is just hilarious. It's like, God, how fake were these bands in the 90s? Are you fucking kidding me? Rage Against the Machine requiring you to be in complete compliance with Big Brother to come to the show? Fucking retire. God. It just makes me sick that I ever bought their albums, to be perfectly honest. Thought these bands were the ones that had it going. Turns out they're the biggest sellouts there ever was. But, again, there it is. From their January 1st meeting to Kurt Cobain's death 94 days later, the Seattle number. But R.I.P. to Russell Wilson's grandpa, who died at 94 after they won the 94th NFL season. But, yeah, it's just like, I guess they say the good die young. The assholes live on, so. To close out here, I'll read a little bit more of the report in case there's some other crucial detail I'm missing. But that Studio 666 find by Daria was huge. Here, one thing to be fair, he died on 3/25. The Jesuits created modern Freemasonry, and the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the motto with the Jesuits, Ad Merum de Gloriam. And Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 325. This man did die on 325. And what's interesting about them sharing the motto at the 32nd degree, Ad Merum de Gloriam, is it equals 172. His birthday is 17/2. Happens to have the same birthday as Michael Jordan, one of the biggest Jesuit puppets there ever was, the basketball actor. But that's probably not an accident. Again, Jesuits and Scottish Rite, those are the two big entities in the nation's capital, D.C. So, again, just to read the story, Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins was found dead in a Colombian hotel Friday as heartbroken fans stood outside in shock. The band announced Hawkins' death on Twitter late Friday. He was 50 years old. His musical spirit and infectious laughter will live on with all of us forever, the band wrote. Shortly after the tragic announcement, the band backed out of its scheduled Friday performance at the Picnic Stereo Festival in Bogota, Colombia. The band recently played Lollapalooza, Chile on March 18th and Lollapalooza, Argentina on March 20th. They are slated to headline Lollapalooza, Brazil on Sunday. So it'll be interesting if they do that show. Police vehicles, an ambulance, and fans were gathered outside the Four Seasons Casa Medina Hotel where Hawkins was believed to have been staying. Authorities in Colombia have not commented on Hawkins' death. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota expressed its condolences in a tweet. "It was a band I grew up with. This leaves me empty," Juan Sebastian and Cheek 23 told the Associated Press as he mourned Hawkins outside the hotel. This is the Foo Fighters tweet. The Foo Fighters family is devastated by the tragic and untimely loss of our beloved Taylor Hawkins. His musical spirit and infectious laughter will live on with all of us forever. Our hearts go out to his wife, children, and family, and we ask that their privacy be treated with the utmost respect in the unimaginably difficult time. And let's see. I like that this publication had to post at 8:04 on the 84th day of the year. That's nice. All right, so just some photos. Born Oliver Taylor Hawkins in Fort Worth, Texas in 72. It's kind of interesting that he's born in 72. It fits in with the Jesuit thing. The Jesuits were created on a date with 72 numerology. Big number with them. Jesuit orders 54 forward, 72. All of these numbers get used in Jesuit rituals. But the Jesuits were created in Paris, which is also 72 on a 72-date numerology. Paris also has the 36 connection, a number we talked about in a big way. The 72 gets its significance from astrology. The sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. And again, it's all about the sun. Hawkins was raised in Laguna Beach, California. He played in the small Southern California band Sylvia before landing his first major gig as a drummer for Canadian singer Sass Jordan. He then spent the mid-90s as the touring drummer for Alanis Morissette before Grohl asked him to join the Foo Fighters. It's the second time Grohl has experienced the death of a close bandmate. Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana when Kurt Cobain died in 94. Funny how both deaths are perfectly synced with his birthday. After Grohl, Hawkins was probably the most prominent member of the group, appearing alongside Grohl in interviews and playing prominent roles in the band's videos. So, number 2. The band just released their horror comedy. Oh, there it is right there. I should have read more. Studio 666 in February. Wait, I thought we just read that it released March 18th. Studio 666 release date. It released on the 56th day of the year, you guys. It released on the 56th day of the year. That's what day it released. And, oh my God. Okay, so it releases on the 56th day of the year, and then he's dead on the 84th day of the year, 28 days later. Just like how the Cobain tragedy is 28 years ago. Taylor 28, killed 28. And then there's your 56. That first thing we looked up said it came out on March 18th. Well, this one says February 25th as well. It had a premiere on February 16th. The product is 6 times 6 times 6, but the official release date on the 56th day of the year. Nirvana debuted Teen Spirit 56 days after Cobain's birthday. Okay, good thing we corrected that. The band just released their horror comedy studio 66. Man, dead 28 days later. Taylor 28, unbelievable. In the film, the members poke fun at themselves in the haunted house they rented out to work on their 2021 album Medicine at Midnight. Let's go back and look at that. Let's look further. Foo Fighters Discography. So we talked about the first album. The Color in the Sheep came out May 20th. It's funny that their second album came out May 20th. What day is that? That's another day that's super important to the Jesuits. That's the day Ignatius of Loyola began, his formation of the Jesuit cabal. That's why the first ever Ignatian year began on May 20th, 2021. Here, just out of curiosity, let's measure from May 20th to his death. If you guys aren't aware of this, look it up. It's the first ever Ignatian year. It began May 20th, 2021. It goes until July 31st this year, the day in history Ignatius of Loyola died. 44 weeks. 44 weeks after it began. Four Seasons 44. Kill 44. Cobain 44. Dead 44 days after his birthday. Come on. So this is the first album he was on, too, because he joined the band for 97. So that's also why this matters. This is his first. He wasn't on this band. He wasn't on this one in 95. He was on this one in 97. There is Nothing Left to Lose, November 2nd, 99. 112, Jesuits operate in 112 countries, his full name 112. One by One, October 22nd. That's the day leaving 70 days left in the year. That's the fourth album. We talked about how relevant 70 is to this death, dying 70 days after Dave Grohl's birthday in Colombia. Fourth album. In Your Honor came out on the Flag's birthday and Donald Trump's birthday. When you count that day through the end of the year, 201 days, June 14th through December 31st, a span of 201 days. We say June 13th is the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Those are the 201 days, June 14th through the end of the year. That would have been his fourth album with the band. And Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace, September 25th. That's the day leaving 97 days left in the year. We see deaths every year on that day in the entertainment world. Death is 97 and 25. 97 is the 25th prime. Drummer 97. Wasting Light on the 102nd day of the year. I know where that number fits in with some other things. Sonic Highways, November 10th. Day leaving 51 days, Rome 51. Concrete and Gold. Man, Foo Fighters got more albums than I realized. I didn't realize they put out this many albums. But okay, here we go. Medicine at Midnight came out February 5th of last year. That's the 36th day of the year. 31 days in January, so here's a 36 again. Again, this man's dead 36 days after his birthday, right after they joined the 36th Hall of Fame. The movie 66, what is it, Studio 666 is based on this. 666 is the 36th triangular number. IHS in the Jesuit logo, 36. Let's see what Medicine at Midnight equals. 95. We just talked about that. The guy's full name is 95. Cobain dead on the 95th day of the year. 319 is a killing number in satanic gematria. When you write out 666. So, I mean, and it's perfect because it's just like what we talked about earlier. It goes with 666. 666. The Jesuits in 95. Oliver Taylor Hawkins. And realize, you know, when I first started this research, almost all my work was just done in this blue cipher. So if this happened in 2013, I'd be showing you this stuff. You know, now 95 weeks in a day is 666 days. So from the release of that album to his death, it's 59 weeks later. Here's why that matters. That's kill in Jewish gematria, 59. But if you get this sequence of pi, again, the 44 in pi, the number 44 occurs at the 59th digit of pi. And again, in our most simple cipher and in Jewish gematria, which is very important. I think we talked about Jewish gematria yet, but it is a very important cipher. The word kill is 44 and 59. So he's dead 59 weeks. I don't know where it went. He's dead exactly 59 weeks after that album came out that the film's based on. Number directly related to killing. Again, it's all mathematics. All right. Well, just to read on a little bit more. Again, the band just released their horror comedy Studio 666 in February. In the film, the members poke fun at themselves in the haunted house they rented out to work on their 2021 album, Medicine at Midnight. It is something I never wanted or it's something I never wanted to or expected to do. It just kind of happened, Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl told the Post. A friend of mine had a meeting with these people that said they want to make a horror film with the Foo Fighters. I was like, that's the stupidest effing idea I've ever heard in my life. There's no way we'd do that shit. Okay, that's the story. Again, they got him in the background, Dave Grohl in the foreground. Not sure who the woman is. Leslie Grossman stars as Barb Weems. When it comes to writing records and making music, we take that very seriously, Grohl told the Post about the band's longevity. When it comes to getting on stage and being a live band, we take that very seriously. We want to be the best fucking live band you have ever seen in your life. Well, sorry, Dave, it's not going to happen because you're nowhere near the best band. We play those 2-3 hour shows, give 150% every night. Hawkins is survived by his wife, Allison, and their 3 children. Then it says down below, fellow legends like Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons took to Twitter to respond to rock music's loss. Do we need to get into the sacrifices around Ozzy Osbourne? R.I.P. to the bassist of Metallica, who died right after touring with Ozzy. And what day did he die? Oh, he died on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome. And what's Ozzy Osbourne's name equal? Oh, 201, like the Jesuit order. About to play Mr. Crowley. You never heard Ozzy Osbourne's song, Mr. Crowley? Take a listen. Mr. Crowley, Aleister Crowley, who died in 47, and it is a huge influence for the world of rock, especially British rock. You know, he was big on the gematria, the letters and numbers thing, occult knowledge. Gene Simmons was just telling everybody to go out and get the vax. Is this Tom Morello up front with a Rams hat on? Is that him? It looks like Tom Morello to me. It is Tom Morello. He's part. If you guys don't know who Tom Morello is, he's from Rage Against the Machine. Where's Chris Cornell at? Another Jesuit sacrifice. Chris Cornell, born on the 201st day of the year. But by the way, just that whole 201 thing with the Jesuits. You know, Soundgarden, also from Seattle. The only one left of the Seattle musicians, the originals, is Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, and he's not even the original actually. Andrew Wood was the front man for that band, and then he died by the numbers, and then they changed their name to Pearl Jam, and they got Eddie Vedder, and he's the only one that lives on. Jeff Young can't stand Eddie Vedder. Says he's tone deaf. But yeah, Tom Morello's part of, you know. He's requiring people to wear masks. Look, he's got his mask around his neck. Why even wear the mask, dumbass, if you're going to take it off for the picture? But yeah, all these people make me sick, man. Tom Morello's from Rage Against the Machine. And now they are the Machine. Ringo Starr. R.I.P. to all the Beatles by the numbers. John Lennon was a big 38 special ritual shot with a 38 special. But, yeah, that's what this world of celebrity and entertainment is, though, man. It's either constant ritual sacrifice, or I know some of you guys think they're all faking their deaths, but I don't know where they'd all go to. Guess the world's a big place. Anyway. Let me check in with the chat real quick before we wrap it up. Maybe somebody else has another brilliant observation. And again, thank you to Daria, who had the good observation about Studio 666. D Squared says, "Hey Zach, what's up, man? What was the baseball documentary again? Ken Burns baseball documentary. There's several parts to it. I want to say it's like a 10-part series." Yo Gotti concert got shot up in Mobile, Alabama last week. Mobile is where the Jesuit University is in Alabama. So many Jesuit rituals in Mobile. A year before that, it was a rapper's grandparents getting burned up in Mobile. And, of course, Mobile equals 56, like Society of Jesus. We don't have anyone in the community who decodes international cricket. That could be you, D26. I don't know how much time you got for things, but that could be you. You guys aren't following D26 Creates new channel doing great work. Make sure you're following all the people in the Gematria community. Yeah, Andrew Wood, you know. I covered his death in my first book. Kurt Cobain's deaths in my first. A lot of deaths are in my first book. There's a chapter in my first book that's a book within a book. It's over 100 pages long, going over celebrity deaths. All right. I didn't plan this morning to get up and cover the death of a rock star. That wasn't the plan. I had other things to do, but these things must get out there. And again, I just remember when I first started doing the video on Kurt Cobain and how it was synced up with Dave Grohl and just how much flack that video got. And, it's just like when I started this research, all I got was flack. And it's still mostly all I get, but it's just pathetic that people can't see that, we're right over the marker. It's just so obvious that it's the Jesuits and the Catholic Church. And again, long before any of us walked the earth, people were writing about how evil the Jesuits were and how they were wolves in sheep's clothing and how, they kill people to get their way. And again, they're into all this ancient esoteric knowledge. These people might really think, well, just even be open-minded, maybe they're right. Maybe you have to ritually sacrifice human beings to gods to stay in favor of the gods and stay in power of the world. It's clearly that's how they operate. This is their belief system. All of this stuff goes back to these old beliefs, and they work like this clockwork. It could be that their belief system's completely wrong and they haven't needed to be doing any of this all this time, which is what I would lean towards. I've never ritually sacrificed a human being, so I couldn't say, well, after I sacrificed my old buddy Kurt, all of a sudden just fame and fortune came to me. I don't know if somebody figured that out along the way, so they just keep doing it. But the point is, they're doing it. And it's them. And there's no one else to blame. So. Yeah, Cabin in the Woods. Stupid horror movie, but a movie that's if you've never seen Cabin in the Woods, you really should watch that movie. It's about how they lure, students out each spring to a cabin in the woods. And it's the government that's ultimately behind it because they have to sacrifice those young people. And I think they need a virgin to be in the group too. There has to be a virgin in the sacrifice. Otherwise, the gods will destroy the world. And it's actually the federal government that's making sure this happens for the safety of the people. They got to sacrifice. They got to have the annual spring break sacrifice of the college kids. So, again, movies like that are... that movie, though, hints at the possibility of this is what's going on. And Neo the Hacker says it could be like the movie Us, and they're all going underground. The thing is, though, would you want to live underground? That sounds terrible to me, and I can't imagine never getting any sunlight. Turn into a vampire. But it's possible. The world's a big place. Maybe there's a big place in the Pacific Ocean that's not on any map. The Pacific Ocean's massive. A lot of people stay away from the Pacific Ocean because it's so dangerous. Maybe there's a big landmass in the Pacific Ocean we don't know about. It's actually called Celebrity Island. Who knows? I know that German beer company did the commercial 5 or 6 years ago that was kind of funny. You might have seen it. All the dead rock stars drinking some German beer together on an island, laughing about how good it is to be retired. It's entirely possible, but again, I don't know. Ultimately, though, again, here, just to close out with one more thing, one of the most important things about these deaths, though, what they achieve for the cabal, death sells. I guarantee you there's a spike in Foo Fighters sales today. All things, albums, merchandise, online downloads, pictures, wall posters, the movie, how many here is where can you watch Studio 666? I bet you that's going to have a big bump today in the viewership of Studio 666. Where can I watch Studio 666? How to stream? Is it free or is it like something you got to rent? How to, I'm sure it's something you got to rent. But again, all of this stuff generates money. And that's the other thing, too. If they are really dying, because these guys are employed by a record label, what's with this massive ad? Because these guys are on a record label, the record label has the right to buy life insurance policies for these guys, and they can have huge payouts. There's a lot of money to be made in someone's death if you have a life insurance policy on them. So... anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Hold on. Let me make sure I said thank you to all the super chatters. We raised $10.48 this stream. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, Daria, thank you very much. Daria had the great observation about Studio 666 and D squared again. Did I answer D squared's question? Oh yeah, he wanted to know about the Ken Burns thing. Ken Burns baseball documentary. Ken Burns. Ken Burns has a lot of interesting history specials for the record. Ken Burns. I think it's just called baseball. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just called baseball. That's it right there. Ken Burns baseball. So. And again, like he says, the reason I always tell people to watch this is because early in the thing, he talks about how he has a quote from Spalding, the same ball manufacturer, and he says right at the beginning, you know, the word was conspiracy because all of the games were rigged and scripted, and they kept that from the fans because they wanted the games to be exciting so that people would want to watch the games. And it's obvious. Nothing's changed ever since then. Pro sports are completely scripted. They're a total joke. I mean, you got to be brain dead to not see it. And again, you know, brain dead is what it is. Brain dead is what it is. Brain dead is what it is for society. People just do not see the obvious. They just go along with all the lies. They go along with all the lies from the authority. Almost no one questions anything, and everything should be questioned, especially when it comes through the TV where it's always a steaming load. But, yeah, that's all for now, True Seeker. Again, thank you to the donors. Thank you to everyone who hit the like. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. And thank you to everyone who shares the video. Ron Walker says, living to 50 as a rock star is like living to 95. Kind of true. I mean, just how many rock stars die early? We know all about that 27 club. Kurt Cobain's a member. The word ritual, 27. So, yeah, if you guys got here late, be sure to rewind. Lots of important information in this stream. And until next time, True Seeker.